1, 2, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm Meghan Cristeen Martin, and I play folk music. But like what we're working on right now, or the band and I are working on, is more rock. Garage country is another term we're using. And then there's the whole ukulele aspect that people are still pinning me to. I am on Facebook and Spotify at Meghan Cristeen Martin, and that's spelled Cristeeen. My band is the 1900. That is 1900. Meghan Cristeen Martin in the 1900 on Spotify and Bandcamp and Facebook and Patreon. Yeah, and everywhere else.
He said, don't mess us up, 'cause you've had enough of a bad time. You're the kind of woman many folks are lucky to have in their life. Don't let him go. Don't.
I remember when, it was probably my earliest memory, my mother would play Elton John, and I had no idea who it was. I just thought it was this really pretty woman's voice. And I never understood the words, but looking back, I just always loved the melodic ways in which Elton John would play keys and sing. And then later on, it was Patsy Cline and her voice, and listening to just the way that she would go up and down with her voice, her chest voice or her head voice. And it was I was trying to mimic what she would do in vocals. And I didn't understand that what I was doing while I was singing along was I was finding the harmony. And I called my dad one day and I said, I just made these sounds with my voice, and I think it sounded right, but it was within what she was doing vocally, what Patsy was doing vocally. And my dad responded, he said, Meghan, you just found the harmony. I was like, well, what does that mean? He's like, well, you found all the right notes. He's like, you are my daughter. And, growing up, I would watch my dad perform in the band that he was in. And I always knew that he could sing really well and sing all the harmonies, but I just never understood what it was. And I, would tell myself that that's what I want to do, but I don't know how I'm going to get there. For a long time, I ignored it because music wasn't a money-making machine. There was a lot to it, there's a lot I didn't understand, and put it to the side. But I've always loved music. And then, in middle school, it was Queen. And I watched a bunch of YouTube live performances of Freddie Mercury strutting his stuff. And, loving all those videos. And, he played Live Aid and, before my time, not understanding, location-wise where it was all at. But, it's like, I want to do that. And then in high school, it was my friends' metal bands. And I had a boyfriend who played bass in my buddy's band, and I would sort of drag along with those guys and go to Warped Tour and just be amongst a bunch of metalheads, not necessarily loving the music because I wasn't really into it, but I supporting it, being a part of it. I think Laura Marley was that good sweet spot. Gillian Welch was another one. Laura Marling, I don't know if you're familiar with her, but her songwriting is just in your early 20s or late teens into 20s. That's exactly what I needed to be listening to. And I think I latched onto that songwriting anyway, because I was always writing, but I never put a formula to it. But listening to her vocals aren't incredibly out there or strange, but it's pure and it's heartfelt, and I think that's what I wanted to get across when I started really songwriting and performing.
It's you.
I was like, well, I want to do something like that, but I wasn't sure how to get there. And then, you know, after high school, I was like, what am I going to do? I never ended up focusing on something. And I just was really depressed, and I gave up on school. And then I moved to visit, or I went to Indiana to live with my father for a year and to see what, you know, about starting over and trying to find who I was. And we went to a ukulele gathering, congress. A bunch of people introduced me to other ukulele players, and I performed an open mic in front of everyone. I was scared shitless, and someone told me that that's what I needed to be doing, and I was like, well, okay, I guess I can do this. And yeah, I started singing, and I, you know, gradually fell in love with performing. And now here I am in 2020, not performing because of COVID, but I love, you know, I've always loved music. The guys and I, the 1900 and I, Morgan Evans and Brent Schlemmer, we're working on this new project. We don't have a release date, but it's definitely more rock and roll. I don't want to say necessarily political, but it definitely has to do with what's going on in 2020 and issues there. And a little bit of the last album we did was the garage country demos. Some of that is getting into we're doing a full-length album. That's our focus. Putting as much of us into it as we can, you know, with the opportune time that we all have today. Yeah, I'm excited. Not really sure how we're going to release it or anything like that because of, you know, just all this debate about whether we should do it outside or next year or online. Yeah, I'm excited.